Today I want to talk to you about an issue that's very important to me. That issue is the state government's decision to dump toxic soil in Bacchus Marsh right next to my niece and nephew's school and in the heart of an agricultural community. Bacchus Marsh is a small town in regional Victoria in Moorabool Shire. The peaceful farming community has been home to orchards and market gardens for many decades and now boasts a population of just over 22,000 people. When the state government announced that it was going to use an old open-cut mine located on the outskirts of the town as a dump site for the toxic soil being excavated from the Westgate Tunnel project, it was met with firm opposition by the local community. The objection to the project was not surprising, considering the soil has been shown to contain not just asbestos, but toxic levels of chain-linked carbon and fluorine atoms, otherwise known as PFAS, per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances. These compounds are known to cause the following: cancer. PFAS-induced tumours in laboratory animals, and the International Agency for Research on Cancer has designated PFOA as a possible carcinogen based on epidemiological evidence linking exposure to kidney and testicular cancer. Hormone disruption. Laboratory tests indicate numerous PFAS affect hormone production and response, with effects on estrogen production and response, thyroid hormone signaling, and on receptors involved in regulation of fat metabolism. People exposed to higher levels of PFAS have higher total and LDL cholesterol. Liver and kidney toxicity. PFAS are associated with multiple effects on the liver and kidney, including liver lesions, kidney degradation, and damage to liver function. Reproductive and developmental toxicity. Laboratory tests associated PFAS exposure with decreased survival of young, disrupted reproductive cycles, and impaired growth of the uterus and ovaries. In addition, a number of large epidemiological studies have related higher material exposure to PFCs and PFAS to lower birth weight. Harm to the immune system. Research has identified the immune system as sensitive to PFAS in both laboratory and epidemiological studies. A 2012 study of 587 children found those with greater exposure to PFAS had significantly poorer responses to vaccines. A study conducted in the Faroe Islands found that PFAS exposure is of particular concern for children. These compounds accumulate in the human body and have even been found in breast milk. Interestingly enough, not only do these compounds cause immune system problems, but they also seem to interfere with the antibody production. The study showed clear inverse associations with antibody concentrations against two vaccines at the age of 5 years old. And I quote, "Given that the adaptive immune system undergoes crucial maturation during infancy, the results support the high vulnerability of the developing immune system. Thus, the present study extends the evidence on PAS-associated deficient antibody responses in children and emphasizes that infants may need particular protection as a highly vulnerable subpopulation." The interesting thing about the state government's proposal to dump the toxic soil in this area is that it has decided to use the site specifically to remediate the PFAS and other toxins from the soil, rather than do this in a safe location and then put the soil in the ground. There are several glaringly dangerous factors involved in this decision. First, the site is located next door to a school, Bacchus Marsh Grammar, and very close to another, Bacchus Marsh College. Both the dump site and the schools are also exposed to high winds, making it virtually impossible to contain the contaminants at the site. The site also sits close to Parwan Creek, a waterway that feeds into the Werribee River, which travels a significant distance away from the area, and above an aquifer that is a natural irrigation source for food grown in the area. Looking at the evidence that PFAS compounds bioaccumulate, it's clear that these toxins will contaminate the water and food supply grown in the area, not to mention that they will also cause harm to wildlife such as platypus, bird life, and of particular concern, the growling grass frog, an endangered species. The Andrews government seems hell-bent on protecting Victorians from the scourge of COVID-19, to the point where even though this disease only seriously affects the old and immune-compromised, he has enacted more authoritarian restrictions on freedom than the local officials in Wuhan, China did. The irony of this situation is that the dumping of such toxins near a school and in the heart of an agricultural area risks causing severe and long-lasting health problems not just for the locals that live there, but anyone who would consume food that is grown in the area. For a leader to take all freedoms away and trash the state economy under the guise of claiming to be protecting the health and well-being of his citizens, to give the go-ahead to dump toxins into the environment that will undoubtedly harm them, is an unbelievable hypocrisy. Andrews is no stranger to controversy, having signed the much-talked-about Belt and Road Initiative with the Chinese Communist Party. Perhaps he is taking a lesson from the Chinese on this, as they are the world's largest polluter, with horrific track records on protecting their environment and people from pollution. His incompetence regarding the Westgate Tunnel project and its predecessor, which wasted billions of dollars that the Victorian taxpayer will no doubt have to pony up after they have been decimated by his decision to shut down most of the state's economy, is a glaring example of why this so-called leader must resign. Rather than spend a tiny fraction of the billions wasted by this government to decontaminate the soil in a safe area, the Andrews government has decided instead to endanger the health of the people of Moorabool Shire by doing it next to 2 schools in the heart of an agricultural community. His failure to listen to the wishes of the local community that has overwhelmingly said no to toxic soil in Bacchus Marsh, and his persistence in taking away the constitutional rights of Australians under the guise of protecting them, is proof not only that he does not care about his electorate, but that his only interest is in the ever-increasing dictatorial powers he seeks. Daniel Andrews has become toxic to Victoria. His unprecedented shutdown of the state's economy and the draconian lockdown of Victorians has cost the state an estimated $12 billion. The only metric of success of such measures is the unprecedented suicide and depression rate of the people living there, the drastic increase in domestic violence and horrible economic consequences for ordinary hardworking Australians, small business owners and families. Despite the horrific track record that is his premiership of this once booming economy, he continues to blindly muddle forward with restrictions and authoritarian measures that do nothing to improve the lives of those he supposedly governs. Whatever your thoughts on the current COVID-19 debacle, the issue of dumping toxic soil from the Westgate Tunnel project in Bacchus Marsh highlights the unbelievable hypocrisy of the Andrews government and undoubtedly endangers the health and well-being of many Victorians. Don't dump toxic soil. Dump toxic Dan. If this issue is important to you also, please get involved. Share this information. Spread it on social media, get involved in the local community action, and write to your local representatives, including the state government, and ask them to reconsider the dumping of toxic soil in Bacchus Marsh. They could at least remediate the toxins out of the soil in a safe location, as opposed to doing it right in the heart of an agricultural community and next to a school. Thanks for watching.